On Tuesday, October 25th, I and many other Americans witnessed the most hilarious and sad Senate debate that has ever been recorded in history. And this was between Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman and the Republican candidate, Dr. Mehmet Oz. And to say it was interesting would be an understatement. There were so many clips of this debate that were unbelievable. If you haven't been following this debate, it's been tightly contested, where Fetterman, the Democrat, has been in the lead for the last several weeks. But then of recently, Dr. Oz has now taken the lead in the race. This was an hour-long debate, and it wasn't short on entertainment. I highly recommend going back and watching this debate, especially if you're in the state of Pennsylvania and you're still an undecided voter. But just in general, this was incredible. If you're not familiar with the candidates, Dr. Oz, you probably would be more so than Fetterman. He was on TV, was a doctor, and obviously was very successful. Fetterman was the lieutenant governor of the state of Pennsylvania, and recently, about 4 or 5 months ago, had a very severe stroke. And there have been several calls for him to end his candidacy after the stroke. He has not fully recovered from the stroke. It's very evident. And I will be playing several clips from the debate where you can see that he's just not all there still. And this is not a slight against him. It's not an attack on who he is. It's just a plain, simple fact. And it's both hilarious and sad, like all rolled up into one. So it's an article from time.com. I just wanted to start with this, and then I'll play some clips. The biggest takeaways from the Fetterman and Oz debate, and highlights his stroke that he suffered in May. And obviously there are 4 key takeaways that they had. Obviously Fetterman did not do well in this debate. He pretty poor by all standards. Even Democrats are saying that it was tough to watch. I'm not from Pennsylvania. I'm not voting in that race. But if I was a voter, I know who I'm voting for after the end of the debate. It's not even close. This is not even a close contest. But he kept referring to Oz that if he's on TV, he's lying. But while saying that while he's on TV, so that made no sense. And then, they had the moderator, I will give a lot of credit to, did ask a lot of follow-up questions to both candidates. Sometimes you get moderators where they just ask the question, then they just kind of let them loose, and it, kind of devolves. A lot of the past presidential campaigns and debates were like that in the last several election cycles. But, the moderator did do a good job. It was a man and a woman. I'm forgetting their name now. But just to keep going here, so they were both pressed about minimum wage being $15 an hour. And, he kept referring to, Oz is the rich guy. He's not going to understand. I'm the working man. I'm the union guy. But he just... But then Oz retorted back that Fetterman has refused to pay his taxes over the last several years. And there's even articles from 4 or 5 years ago claiming this, that he owes still $25,000 in liens against him, against several, with several filings or complaints about this. So, it's kind of pretty interesting there. He did flip-flop on his fracking comment. Fracking, if you're not familiar, is when they unearth natural gas from the earth, and it's more refined than oil. President Obama was the one that really kick-started this several years ago when he was president, and people always complain that it's going to go into the water supply. That's the great fear with fracking, but technologies have improved over time. But obviously with the energy crisis that is now affecting us, where we're importing our oil from Saudi Arabia and from other parts of the world, it's been a hot topic now that we need to lower gas prices, and fracking is a quick alternative to that. And Pennsylvania is the second greatest state in terms of energy output, right behind Texas. Everyone thinks of Texas and oil, but Pennsylvania is second. And so it's a very hot topic. So Fetterman, in his debate, they pointed to articles from 4 or 5 years ago, which I'll play a clip for in a little bit, where he stated he never supported fracking at all, and now all of a sudden he supports fracking, as to a couple of weeks ago. So is that convenient? I'll let you decide on that. I think it's pretty convenient that all of a sudden he changes his mind when there's high gas prices. Not to mention that President Biden keeps tapping the strategic petroleum oil reserves from this country, and it's now at its lowest point since 2008. So we were, President Trump, say what you want about him, he did buy oil when it was low. So now if we buy again to replenish it, there's been reports where we're going to pay 2 to 3 times the amount of what was paid previously. So once again, we're going to be paying more, and this is mine and yours tax dollars that work here. And then they asked him to clarify again, and he just doubled down and kept saying he supports fracking. So just wanted to briefly go over, these are the takeaways, but wanted to start with some of the clips here. This is a great one to lead off with, and this is how he opened the debate.
Decide the balance as lieutenant governor. You're running for a seat that could decide the balance of power in Washington.
This is his first statement.
What qualifies you to be a U.S. senator? You have 60 seconds.
Hi, good night, everybody. I'm running to serve Pennsylvania.
Hi, good night, everybody. Well, see you later. Nice knowing you. Like, obviously, that's number one. We'll just keep going here. So this is the next one. So, he talks about inflation, and then, now this is Oz getting back at him because he kept attacking him for, because he's the rich guy. He's got a lot of houses. He's successful. So, and a little known fact about John Fetterman, his parents gifted him his house for, you guess it, $1. He bought his house from his parents for $1. And Oz goes after him for this. And here,
I've been trying to talk about policy issues with the people of Pennsylvania. As a doctor, I listen to their ideas and I want to talk about them. When John Fetterman brings up houses, the irony is he didn't pay for his own house. He got it for $1 from his sister, and he hasn't been able to earn a living on his own. He's lived off his parents. So it's not a topic that we should be debating on the stage. We should be talking about crime and inflation, the issues that are hurting Pennsylvanians that they're talking about at their kitchen table.
So, that was a pretty good one there. He just gets him on that. And, then he tries to go after him for oil companies. And, because obviously he's, for Biden's policy of the green energy, which makes the whole fracking flip-flop even more hilarious. I'm sure the Biden administration will love that one when he was like, oh, yeah, I'm for fracking. And so this is a big one, too, because obviously with his stroke that, his doctor is saying that he's fit to run, and people want to see his medical records to prove that. They want to be able to validate what this doctor is saying. And this is when he got asked that question.
Last week, you released this note from your doctor saying you can work full duty in public office, but you have not released your detailed medical records surrounding your stroke. Mr. Fetterman, will you pledge tonight to release those records in the interest of transparency? You have 60 seconds.
No. To me, for transparency is about showing up. I'm here today to have a debate. I have, speeches in front of 3,000 people in Montgomery County, all across Pennsylvania, big crowds. I believe if my doctor believes that I'm fit to serve, and that's what I believe is appropriate. And now with 2 weeks before the election, I have run a campaign and I've been very transparent.
I believe if my doctor believes, then I believe I am fit to serve. What does that even mean? Just talking in circles. Like, it doesn't even make any sense. And, this is where he flip-flops on the fracking too.
That you've always supported fracking, but there is that 2018 interview that you said, quote, I don't support fracking at all. So how do you square the two?
I do support fracking, and I support fracking, and I stand and I do support fracking.
Okay.
I support fracking, and I don't, and I support fracking. So you can't have two positions on the same topic. So here we go. Just another one. It's just, you talked about the Statue of Liberty, which made absolutely no sense. But like this is what I want to highlight too when it comes to the issues he's having with his stroke. Listen to how long he takes to respond to this question. Literally, the Greg Price in the tweet here, 7 seconds. He takes 7 seconds to respond to this.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Fetterman. A follow-up question on this. Our Nexstar poll shows 51% of Pennsylvania voters disapprove of the president's job performance. You have publicly supported many of his policy positions. Are there any that you disagree with? 30 seconds.
No, I just believe he needs to do more about supporting and fighting about inflation. And I do believe he can do more about that choice.
Like, dude, that's a long pause. Like, that's not normal. Like, that's not like I need to think about it pause. That's like, wait, what did he just say pause? Like, geez. And if you're not familiar with it, I'm not going to play this clip, but there was a case several years ago when he was the mayor of Braddock that he put a shotgun to a black man's chest that was just running along his house. He was just jogging, minding his own business. John Fetterman runs out of his house and puts a shotgun to his chest and accuses the guy of committing a crime. But because he was the mayor of Braddock, they let it go. And he didn't, and they bring it up in this, and he refuses to apologize about it. Didn't even say, like, I'm sorry that it happened. He just defends it like it's nothing. It's hilarious. So there's so many memes. The Fetter memes are going wild here. There's so many. My favorite, though, is, I don't know if I can find it here, is where they're talking about where he was talking about a certain policy, and then he goes, they're like, Mr. Fetterman, how are you going to enable this policies? He just goes, I just believe. I just believe. Like, this is, like, what kind of magical fairy world are you in? I just believe. Like, it's just, that's someone who you want on the Senate floor debating for your state, And they also talked about how he had teleprompters. There were 2 teleprompters because of his stroke that he suffered. They had closed captioning in front of them. Usually they have teleprompters, but they put closed captioning. They had one that was going at normal speed and one going at a slower speed. And then because he did so poorly in the debate, they're now accusing the closed captioning company of being faulty. So the excuses are already coming out, and it's been not even 24 hours since the debate. So, obviously they know that it went poorly, and now they're scrambling to come up with excuses for this. But I highly recommend just looking at some. If you want to watch the whole thing, just check it out. But I just played you some of the highlights here. But it was just incredible, watching that. There's some other debates I'm going to check into. I was going to do a versus for Oz and Fetterman on my channel, like, comparing the 2 policies. But I'm not even going to bother anymore because, I mean, if you're voting for Fetterman at this point, I don't know what to tell you. You're not paying attention, and I don't even know. I'm trying to be nice here, but you're just misinformed. You're not paying attention. Even if you're not a fan of Oz, I'm not a huge fan of Oz either, but he made some valid points, and, he obviously is competent enough to be on the Senate floor. When you're hiring, because we are electing them, but in essence, it's like a job interview. They're debating to be hired here. You want the best of the best. I don't want Fetterman on there where he's not at his full faculties, and now he's going to be debating bills that are going to affect the rest of the country. I mean, this is pretty simple here, folks. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. But just wanted to cover this. I'm going to cover the other debates that happened. Probably the next one will be the New York governor debate that was last night between Kathy Hochul, the Democrat, and then Lee Zeldin, the Republican. There were some interesting talking points from that one as well, particularly with crime. There were some interesting comments there made by one of the candidates that I'll cover. But I'll probably do a versus for that one because that's a little more contested. This one, it's pretty much it's over with. I mean, most people are just saying that Oz is going to win. I mean, there'd have to be some kind of miracle to happen, like, and not a good miracle, if you know what I'm saying here. So, that's going to do it, though, for this video. Like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. Share it with your friends so that they're aware of what's going on, especially if they're in the state of Pennsylvania. Please share this video with them, or at least just tell them to watch the debate if they didn't watch. They also mentioned too, I'll mention this briefly, that there was a influx of Google searches of people asking if they can change their early vote, because early voting started several weeks ago. There was a ginormous spike in of searches for that. Can I change my early vote? How to change your early vote? So you can tell people are having remorse from this. So, if you voted early, and you voted, and that's on you. I mean, this is why it needs to be election day, not election month. But again, thanks for tuning in. If you're still watching, thanks for watching, and take care.